Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and for new viewers, welcome. We're going to do a video today on Zed Run, again, one of my favorite new NFT games, and we're going to take a deep dive into breeding. Okay, what to consider while you're breeding your horses. Okay, so if you want to know how to breed a horse, I made a video on how to breed a horse. So please go check it out under my Zed Run playlist, and let's get started. So what we're gonna do is we're in the Zed Run homepage here. You can go to Learn, and you can go to Getting Started. Once you click on that, right, this page opens up and welcomes you and tells you about this and that. What we're going to do is we're going to look at this breeding section today. So about whatever, we're going to go to the facts first. Okay, what is breeding in Zed Run? It's like any other horse breeding, nothing new. What is a colt, stallion, filly, or mare? So this is an important part. There are 4 genders in Zed Run. You have the colt and stallion for males, and filly and mare for females. Colt is a kind of a virgin because, it hasn't bred yet with anybody. So colt hasn't bred, stallion has had offsprings. Same with filly, hasn't bred yet, mare has had offsprings. That's what's the difference between colt and stallion, filly and mare is. So these are males, these are females. Keep the offspring. If you own a female horse and if you made it with another stable's male horse, yes, you do get to keep the offspring. You just have to pay the fees. How many times can I breed? Males can breed 3 times a month, 36 times a year. Females can breed 1 time a month, 12 times a year. How should I set my breeding price? We're not going to get into that really today, but the basic of it is Zed Run will provide you with a minimum price. Again, go back to my breeding video and you will see that, how to put your stud into the breeding farm and how to set the price. Does breeding require paying gas? This is the beautiful part. It's on polygons. It does not require paying gas. How do I breed? Within my own stable of racehorses. If you buy 2 racehorses, you put your male into the stud farm and you just go here to breeding and you find your horse, right? Let's say this is the one I have. I can select him as a mate and pick my female and mate with him, and that's how you breed within your own stable. Okay, now the advantage is that you get a 35% discount on the fees. You still have to pay fees, but you get a 35% discount on that if you're breeding within your own stables. How many racehorse characteristics exist? There are ability, distance, and fatigue. Right now, they only have ability and distance preference. Fatigue factor has not been included into the horses yet. What offspring gender will I create? It's random. What is a super coat? Now this is another one that I really want to have. That's why both of my horses have the same color. A super coat is where the offspring is born with the same coat color as both its mother and father. Super coats represent less than 0.5% of total population and are therefore extremely rare. So that's why I want a super coat. I have both my horses same color. Is there an advantage of owning a Genesis racehorse for breeding? Yes, obviously. By owning a Genesis racehorse, you have a natural edge against non-Genesis racehorses, in that Genesis racehorses are more rare. For example, breeding 2 Genesis racehorses together will create a legendary racehorse. What is the benefit of breeding with a Genesis racehorse? Again, we will get into that in a little bit. And a racehorse, but it's not a Genesis racehorse. If I chose to breed it, will my offspring inherit the ability from another parent to be the top performer of champion? There is a possibility that can happen. Can I reproduce the Genesis racehorse? No, you cannot, because they were the 38,000 original that were made by Zed ecosystem. How many racehorses can I breed at the same time? Again, we go back to here. and these are your limits. When can I take my racehorse out of the stud farm? You can do it 1, 3, or 7 days. I usually put it for 7 days. There is an advantage. We will go to pricing at the very end. Actually, you know what? When is my racehorse's first birthday? Your first birthday is a month after when it was minted. And where to find the birthday details? Again, it's explained on my other videos. Please go check it out. So we're going to skip all of this and we're going to come to the unique DNA profiles. This is what's most important about breeding. These are the 4 characteristics of the DNA of the Zed Run horses: bloodline, genotype, breed type, and coat color, and we're going to go over all of them. Let's start with bloodline. There are 4 bloodlines: Nakamoto, Zabo, Fini, and Buterin. Nakamoto is the best, Zabo is the second best, Fini is the third best, Buterin is the common kind, if you will. So, common, rare, epic, and legendary, if you will. So if you breed a Nakamoto with a Nakamoto, you get a Nakamoto horse. If you breed a Nakamoto with Zabo, you get Zabo. You get Nakamoto with Fini, you get a Fini. Nakamoto with Buterin, you get a Buterin. And it's the same this way. So basically, whatever the lower category bloodline is, you get that horse. Now, remember, as the game evolves and there are more horses, people are going to go look into the original bloodline and they will see where this is coming from. You know, if it's a Nakamoto, if it came from a Zabo and Zabo, well, that's actually pretty obvious. I was talking about breed type. Once we go to breed type, we will take a look at that. The second, okay, before we move on from here, bloodlines will contribute 80% of the total of the overall weighting factor when determining the minimum breeding price. Subsequently, each individual bloodline is weighed as follows. Nakamoto is 180%, Zabo 120%, Fini 40%, Buterin 15%. So basically, if you have a Nakamoto horse, you can charge more. Your minimum price for breeding, if you have a stud, your minimum price for breeding will be higher and you can get more fees for breeding. But you have to pay more to mate with a Nakamoto horse. But if you have a Buterin and you want to mate with a Nakamoto horse, you will still end up with a Buterin. But think about this. This is what I was trying to mention. Although your horse is Buterin, but when people look at the lineage, and you can go to my video, the last video on Zed Run that I did, that has different resources to research these horses. If you go to one of those, that video, and you will see, you can look at the lineage of a horse. A Buterin that's made from a Buterin and Buterin will not be as desirable as a Buterin that's made from a Buterin and a Nakamoto. That's the difference. Okay? Now let's go to genotype. Genotype is a Z number that goes from 1 to 268. Okay? So it is impossible to breed a Zed Run racehorse with the genotype of Z1. The lowest possible outcome of an offspring genotype is Z2. Why? Because the offspring's genotype is calculated with the genotype of the stallion and of the mare added together. So for example, if a racehorse has a genotype Z12 and breeds with a racehorse that has a genotype Z35, the offspring will now be a genotype of 47. So keep that in mind when you are breeding, that who are you breeding with? Are you breeding with a Z9, Z1? What is your goal? Or when you buy these horses, I bought, what's my stable? Let's go to my stable here real quick. I have a Z9 and a Z11. So if I mate these two, I will make a Z20 horse. Okay, and I'm happy with anything Z20 or below. So that was one of the considerations I gave when deciding what genotype do I want. Okay, so genotypes, the lower the number, the better those horses are, basically. Breed type. Now, if we look here, the breed types are, okay, before I go there are 6 types: Genesis, Legendary, Exclusive, Elite, Cross, and Pacer. Obviously, at a descending order, so Genesis is the best and Pacer is the worst, if you will. The Genesis are the horses, as we looked at the very beginning, under the facts, that these are the horses that were original 38,000 horses created by Zed Run or Zed ecosystem. You cannot reproduce them, so they are very rare, and there will only be 38,000 horses. So if you can get your hands on one of those, even a Buterin, that will probably hold its value better than anybody else and appreciate over time. So you can mate a Genesis with a Genesis, you will create a Legendary. You can mate a Genesis with a Legendary, create an exclusive Genesis. And look at this, if you mate a Genesis with an exclusive, you'll still create an exclusive. Okay? And Genesis, Elite, 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 Genesis, Cross, Cross, Genesis, Pacer, Pacer. Now, the difference here is this. If you create an exclusive horse from a Genesis and a Legendary, that will have a higher value than a Genesis and exclusive. Okay? Why? Because people will look at the legacy or lineage and see who the parents are. And a Legendary horse is better than an exclusive horse, subjectively, but still. So that's why when I was buying these horses, I couldn't afford a Genesis female horse that I liked, so I bought a Legendary female and a Genesis male. So the offsprings will be exclusive, but they will be better than these exclusives. And these exclusives are pretty good for racing that are being bred from a Genesis and a Legendary. So keep that in mind while you're buying your horse or you're planning a stable or breeding your horses, sorry. The next thing is coat color. Okay. Now, there is a coat color breeding formula and coat color groups and rarity tiers. We're just going to jump to coat color. Okay, let's go through breeding formula for a teeny bit. So, coat color is an important element in terms of collectability, nature of racehorses is Zed Run. So remember this, coat colors will have no impact whatsoever on how a horse is racing, how good is a horse in racing. It's only for the collectability purpose of it. So if it's a rare or a super rare color, it will have a better price because some people want rare and super rare, right? So definition of breeding pairs times breeding rarity. This process is complex and determined by the following equation. So I don't want to get into that. We will, as some examples, as we go through this, okay? Now, coat color groups. These are the coat color groups: Neptune, Earth, Wild, Moon, Fiery, Classic, and Mystical. These are called groups, and these are called little boxes. These are boxes, okay? So if you are, these are the super rare colors in every group. These are the rare colors, and these are the common colors. I could not get my hands on a super rare that I can afford, so I settled with the pale violet under Mystical. Both of my horses are pale violets. Pale violets. Now don't be fooled by what the color looks like. There could be another horse that looks like the same color. I mean, you can't see really a difference, but if you go into the description, you will see it's not actually a rare color. It's one of the other common colors, but they look the same. So make sure before you're purchasing a horse that what does the code say on OpenSea, okay? Again, if you want to know more about OpenSea and how to buy a horse, go check out my video under the Zed Run playlist, please. Okay, so these are the coat colors. Now, obviously these are more expensive, a little less expensive, cheap. Not cheap, but yeah, less expensive. So here they have an explanation of all 6 groups. Mystical is: this spirited horse is highly intelligent and reads race situations well. It is energetic, versatile, and is suitable for races of all conditions. That's the horse I got. That's pretty good, huh? Now, coat color rarity is defined as the intended number of Nakamoto Z1 Genesis racehorses that have the particular coat color. The moon color group and all of that. So basically, if you can get a horse from this coat color group, again, it has really no impact on the races, but it does say they're intelligent and this and that. So I don't know what the deal is. Racehorse abilities. Okay, let's see what's under abilities. Now, these, if you want to, you can go through this, and this will tell you Genesis ability. The ability given to a Genesis racehorse is calculated by placing a weighted factor on its DNA combination. The algorithm is designed in a way that allows for a racehorse's ability to overlap with other bloodlines, genotypes, and breed types, causing dynamic and exciting racing. This is a very complex game, guys. I mean, that's why I'm so excited about it, because it's not one of those things that will just come and go. I don't think it will. Actually, I think eventually people from the real horse racing world will migrate to this, and it's going to explode. So if you can, get your hands on a couple of horses. For example, on average, a Z1 Nakamoto Genesis racehorse will perform better on the racetrack than a Z2 Nakamoto Genesis racehorse. However, based on ability alone, this does not guarantee a Z1 Nakamoto Genesis will always outrun a Z2 Nakamoto Genesis racehorse. To give more context, please note the above explanation is only taken into account a racehorse's raw ability and not their distance preference. So when distance preference and fatigue factor comes in, hey, bad horses can be actually good racehorses eventually. Who knows, right? Non-Genesis ability, in addition to its DNA combination, a non-Genesis racehorse is heavily weighted towards the ability of its parents. As a stable owner, you have a high degree of influence and control of the offsprings that is created, of course. Ability deviation, you can have ability deviations where your horses perform better or worse than what they're supposed to. That's at random. And these are the three initial factors we talked about. These two are implemented. Fatigue factor is not implemented yet. Okay, I wanted to talk about the color pairs and color rarity. Now, this took me a while to understand, so I will try to put it simply this way. You can breed your horses with same color coat, both parents, different coat color, but same color group, different coat color and color group of. So these are the three different ones. Remember, we looked at coat color groups, right? So you can do same coat color. You can pick any two, the same coat color. Okay, that would be one. Different coat color, but the same color group. That means different coat color. Maybe this one is Alice. The stud is Alice blue. The mare is cadet blue, but they're in the same group, color group. Or you have one powder blue and one rosy brown. They're in the different color groups. Okay, the best thing to do is to have both parents the same color group. Why? Because you can get a super coat, a 40% chance that the identical coat color as parents, you will get a super coat. And that's going to be only 0.5% of the horses. Okay, so remember that. That's why same coat color. If you are mating your female with a male or male with a female of your own stable, if they're same color, gives you the best chance, okay, of getting a super coat. Now, 25% chance would be identical color box as the parents. Now, remember the boxes. I told you these are the boxes. So there is a chance my offspring will be misty rose instead of pale violet. Pale violet would be a super coat, but misty rose. If it's a misty rose, then, there's a 25% chance that it can be a misty rose. 15% chance that any adjacent color box as parents, 15% chance that less rare coat color in the same color group as parents. Ah, boo! And 4% chance that any coat color below parents' color box, if any. And 1% chance that any color coat in the same color group above the color box, if any. So what that means is I have a chance that the offspring goes to papaya whip. A 1% chance there will be a papaya whip, a 0.5%, 40% chance that it will be a pale violet supercoat. Fingers crossed. Now you can have a different color group. In that case, 30% chance that this comes from this breeding rarity formula. Let's take a look at that first. It's basically, well, they have examples there. Same color, different color. Okay, so different color. 40%, 35 weighting from the female and 65 weighting from the male. So if they're different colors, there is a chance that 65% chance or weighting in the what color the offspring will be comes from the male, 35% from female. And this is the same for different coat color and different group, and different coat color, same color group, right? Different coat color, same color group, 30% chance as the sire, that's the father, 15% chance as the mother, and there are other chances of being below rarity, above rarity. The same thing here, a 40% chance that it will be randomly selected any coat color from the rarity tier, but it will be affected heavily by the father's coat color. Okay, so those are the coat colors. Now, breeding limits, we already looked at that. A male can breed 3 times a month, a female can breed only 1 time a month. Pricing, this is not actually underbreeding. I do not want to go into this. Basically, if you're a stud owner and if you lock up your stud in the stud farm for 7 days, you will get 56% of the total fees. So right now, I have my stud in the stud farm, right? Let's go to breeding and let's go to 7. It has a fee of 0.036 ETH. I will get 56% of that if somebody, excuse me, mates with my stud. If I put it in there for 3 days, I get 48%. If I put it in there for 1 day, I get 40%. Okay? I think this is a better idea. Now that I'm thinking about it, this is the second time I have locked him up. If you lock him up for 7 days, he keeps going down and down and down on the recently added list, right? If you do it every day, yes, you get less, but you get a better chance of actually breeding somebody will breed with your stud. I'm gonna do that next time. Thank you. I figured it out during the video. So the rest of the 60%, 45% goes to the prize pool for racing, and Zed Run fees is 15% all across the board. Breeding price allocation, minimum breeding prices, base breeding price, breeding fees, and calculation examples. There is no reason for me to go through all of these. These are basically, math. If you like math, you can go through this and figure out how this works. But when you go to put your horse into the meat of it, is when you put your horse into the stud farm, it will give you an option. And let's go back to I think you can go back to I made a video on breeding, how to put your stud into the breeding farm. You will see there is an option on where it will tell you the minimum price. I set it for minimum price. This is determined by Zed Run ecosystem, Zed ecosystem. I will have to, you can increase it to whatever amount you want, but you then price yourself out of the competition. That's all. So that's basically a deep dive on breeding. Guys, this is a lot of information. So if you have any questions, leave it in the comment section. I always answer all the questions. And if you like the video and like my effort, please give me a like, subscribe. That keeps me motivated. That keeps me gives me a reason to make more videos and helps the channel grow. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.